I'm Diana Belchase, and I'm here with my dear friend Alan Orloff, who not only is an incredible person, an incredibly funny person, but he writes the most wonderful mysteries, and his latest book is Deadly Campaign, which is another in his comedian series.
The Last Laugh series. Yeah.
The Last Laugh series, where he has a comedian who ends up in the thick of things and always in murder. So tell us about how your comic ended up in a political campaign.
Well, his best friend, Thomas Lee, his nephew, was running for Congress, and there were some dirty dealings in the campaign, and the nephew, rather than getting the police involved, asked Channing Hayes to see what he could find. And he found some things.
And tell us some of the things that he finds.
Well, there's a bookie involved, there's some illicit drugs involved, there's some campaign corruption involved from both parties, so it's equal opportunity skewering.
I hope there's some nice jabs at the political dirty dealings.
Yes, there is. I'm not a fan of any politician of any stripe.
Well, Alan's first book was also pretty amazing, so amazing in fact that it was an Agatha nominee. So tell us about that book.
Well, in Diamonds for the Dead, Josh Handelman comes home to his home in Reston, Virginia, and to bury his father, who's fallen down the stairs in a terrible accident, and he discovers a Russian Jew living in the basement and a missing diamond collection. Mm-hmm. So Josh sets out to see what happened to the diamond collection and to try to explain what that Russian Jew, what his story is.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a lot of fun, and I don't know why Alan's being so serious today. You should see him during the middle of book signings. The last time I saw Alan at a book signing, he donned this big red, white, and blue Dr. Seuss hat, I thought,
yes,
and told stand-up jokes the entire time because Alan's a pretty funny guy.
Well, as part of the Last Laugh mystery series promotional events, I thought it'd be fun to do some stand-up comedy. Now, I'm not a stand-up comedian, but I did work up about 15 minutes of open mic quality comedy. If you've ever been to an open mic night,
yes,
you know that open mic means pretty bad. So I had no trouble doing pretty bad.
Well, I have to say, it wasn't professional, but it was funny. But the highlight was when Alan's son had written up this top 10 list a la David Letterman about you. And he said some pretty funny things about having a dad who was a writer. Do you remember any of them?
I don't, but I do remember that the best review I ever got, one of my favorite review, was from my son. And he said, Dad, no offense, but this book was too good to have been written by you. That was the left-handed compliment if I ever heard it.
It sure is. Now, what do you do in your day job?
I'm a stay-at-home dad. So I watch my children. I do the cooking, the cleaning, the shopping, all that stuff. And I try to squeeze some writing in there.
So how does that translate into your books? I mean,
absolutely no. There's no translation. Absolutely. Next question.
Next question.
Well, I mean, in my day-to-day errands and so on, I get to sort of observe the human condition and people, and I get great ideas for characters like at the standing line at the post office. I make up stories about this guy and that lady and so on. So I sort of gather what's around me.
Oh, that's great. Now, I know you have 3 ebooks that have come out as well.
Yes, I have dipped my toe into the digital publishing world, and I have a horror book which I wrote. It's called The Taste, and if you like horror, that's pretty cool. And First Time Killer, which is a thriller, and Ride Along, which I just released as a novel of suspense. So you can find those all on Amazon, and it's kind of fun doing that. You get to be more in control of the cover and the cover copy, and the promoting of it all. So it's fun.
Which you're very good at too. Well, if you haven't read Alan's books, I really suggest very strongly that you consider them. Deadly Campaign was so much fun, and Alan's a lot of fun too. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks a lot for
And I'm Diana Belchase. Keep reading.